Hi, I'm Michael Senoff, founder and CEO of HardToFindSeminars.com. For the last 5 years, I've interviewed the world's best business and marketing minds. Now my challenge is to build the world's largest free resource for online, downloadable audio business interviews. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and today I'm going to show you the skills you need to survive.
In 2 weeks, they went from selling 1 out of 20 over 6 weeks to selling 4 out of 20 in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it was a 300% increase in their sales cycle.
That's incredible.
And when I talk about leverage, the leverage isn't, it can be. You can increase sales by training salespeople, absolutely. But you can't increase the results 300%. But if you change the structure that they work within, you can just jolt the sales upward.
Hi, this is Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com and Consulting Secrets. Here is a recording with one of our newest HMA consultants. His name is Robert Stoffer. Going back and forth, I learned that Robert is an expert marketing consultant who's been in the marketing consulting field for some time. When I saw some of the case studies that he presented to me, I had to interview him to offer his interview as ongoing training for all the new HMA consultants who come on board. Just listen to this. Robert's created $800,000 for a guy in a week and a half. He sold $40,000 an hour with a $349 letter of a product that an entire telemarketing operation couldn't sell before. This strategy went on to make $400,000 in the next 2 months. He's kicked up a sales team's sales 300% in 2 weeks by doing the opposite of what most sales trainers teach. He's helped clients grow 2 businesses from scratch to several million a year and more. He's added profit centers to a client that grew the company from $7 million to $25 million and more. Robert offers a lot of real in-the-world trenches about the marketing consulting business. We also talk about voice broadcasting technology and how it can be modified and used to catapult your consulting business. Hang on to your seats because this is exclusive training just for the HMA consultants, and I think you're really going to benefit from Robert's experience. You know, what I want to do as I bring people into this HMA training, I want people out there in the consulting field, and they don't have to be doing consulting just like Richard's system. I mean, you're doing $1 million in consulting, and I want the people who come through here to learn from all different aspects. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? How did you first get into the whole consulting gig?
Well, it probably started off in going through high school, and I think even younger. I was doing little businesses on my own, so I already had an entrepreneurial bent. So by the time I hit college, I'd already played around in 10 different businesses, everything from car dealing to selling livestock and onward from there. My junior year in college came one of the wildest, let me rephrase that, came one of the wildest opportunities. Mm-hmm. I had a friend whose fiance's dad owned car dealerships. He decided to move out close to his daughter going to college, and so in Livonia, Georgia, he decided to start a car dealership. And he said, hey, get that guy Robert and have him come, and I want him to be my marketing manager. Okay. We started a car dealership from scratch as 2 juniors in college. He came in, walked into a bank, walked out with a $500,000 credit line, and said, okay, here's how you take a car in. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. I'll see you. And he went back to Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So he left 2 inexperienced juniors, college kids, in charge of a car dealership. My buddy was ace at finance, and I kind of scrambled through doing the selling of cars and the marketing of cars and how to get to people to the lot and stuff like that. So that was kind of a...
Was it a brand name dealership or just...
No.
These were brand new cars?
Yeah, Chrysler.
Chrysler, okay.
Chrysler under his name, which at the time was Lash. And so for 3 months we lived in the town was so small there were no apartments or anything, so we lived out of a hotel room running this thing. It's one of those early adventures in business. After that, I went to work for Procter & Gamble in field advertising.
What is field advertising?
Field advertising, it was 100% travel. We never knew it was coming up in 3 weeks. We'd get a manila folder in the mail. It's kind of like a Mission Impossible, where it says if you decide to take it, here's your job. Mm-hmm. And it may be go in. We're going to do sampling of Citrus Hill in the stores, and you need to hire all the samplers. Traverse City, Michigan. Go. Boom. So they'd send us in to do that. Or it may be we're pulling Duncan Hines cookies off the shelf and sticking a new formulation out. You need to go over to Kellogg or Kalamazoo, Michigan. Go. Boom. So we'd go in and hire people to yank all the product off the shelf and do things like that. It's hard to define as a job. It's everything the sales and marketing people didn't want to do.
Yeah, how long were you with them for?
About a year. After that, I went to work and I started devising businesses. And I mainly started, for myself, I started on the sales side, working with their sales forces and whatnot, because that's where the majority of my experience. But as you're selling, you start looking at products, you start looking at what they're doing, and, well, how can I get more leverage? And so that led to marketing. And so as I worked on the marketing, for example, in copyright and things like that, and then my question was, usually as a copywriter, a client comes and goes, here, I'm selling this to this market, write something. I started looking where was the real leverage, and it was actually deciding what markets and what products were going to those markets. And so I sort of climbed the totem up to working more with strategy than specifically with sales or copywriting.
When you were doing consulting with businesses on the sales side, was that just something that you put together? Were you following like a formal program like Sandler Sales Institute or something like that?
I put together a bunch of stuff from NLP and sales training I had, personal techniques I'd done.
And how'd that go for you?
It went well.
But it was limited because it wasn't. That was just one aspect of growing a business.
Correct. It's one pillar. And in the long run, as we discovered a little later on in the call here, it's not the highest leverage you can go after. It was kind of the quest for leverage. How can I make a bigger impact with clients than what I'm doing? As a quick example, with a sales force, you're dealing with behavioral change. So you can come in and get them motivated, their performance might go up a week or two afterwards, and it drops back down because there hasn't been skill change. So, but skill change, guess what? That takes practice, it takes discipline, it takes follow-up, things like that. So you're looking at a months-long process to get maybe 25, 30% increase in what they're doing. And we'll talk later. If I can alter the structure they operate in and the processes they approach the client with, we can get hundreds of % increase in an extraordinarily short time.
Okay, so the quest for leverage then came copywriting.
Right. And essentially it's salesmanship multiplied.
Right.
So, I started looking at these. It was back in 88, 89. I ran across these guys, Gary Halbert, John Carlton, Jay Abraham.
How'd you first I love hearing the story. How'd you first run across any of these guys?
Actually, from my dad. He'd gotten some mailings from the early Jefferson Institute. There's a guy named, at that time, Mark Stoddard.
Mark Stoddard, yeah.
He was more the star than the other guys.
Right.
The other guys kind of came to his show. They had Gary and others doing the talking, and John Carlton. I still remember his gun to the head analogy back then, and his promise to help any copywriter for free if they call him. And I didn't call, but I kind of laughed today because obviously he's one of the superstars in copywriting today. So I heard that stuff, and it just clicked something inside of me. I would go out and walk for hours listening to him, writing notes, taking notes in the dictation machine, hand transcribing things. And it's hard to say why it clicked, but it's like I found home. It was more marketing-oriented than just pure sales-oriented. The ability to make a much bigger impact on a business, much faster, much easier for less money. And then it went from there.
Let's talk about some case studies. You had sent me some information that you had created $800,000 for a guy in a week and a half. What's that all about?
This is a classic example of the leverage of a sales letter versus individual salespeople. Came walking in. They were selling seminars. It was a $395 seminar. And the way they sold was they'd send out brochures and then follow up with telemarketing. It was a yearly event. The year before, they sent out a brochure and they made one sale. Then telemarketers, and they'd have to sell them for 5 months. Telemarketers would call for 5 months, following up and selling in person. I sat down, wrote a sales letter for them. We sent it out.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.